wanting to have children. So how are we doing this? I had mentioned before in another in a workshop, in an episode, that I'd gone to a surrogacy meeting, seminar, ultimately. Doctor was there, nurse was there, all the lawyers were there, everybody was there. We were basically there, and the dangerous part was if you brought your checkbook. Some of the couples, some of the male couples and some of the male individuals brought their checkbooks. So I can tell you what it approximately costs is, I'm sure you could do it for the cheap, but different surrogacy agencies, picking from a catalog, meeting a surrogate, goes for about $50,000 to $90,000 per child. But there's a sale that if you do two children or twins, it's like $140,000. So it's a range between about $50,000 to $140,000. So how are we doing that? Who's paying for that? How long does it take to pull that money together? And then the 18 years after that, or the trials of getting someone pregnant, insemination, jar, turkey baster, all those kinds of things, a doctor. But it could take a while. It could take several stages and procedures. What if it's happening out of the country? So that we've got to fly back and forth and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that has to be considered in child production. And it also has to be considered, okay, now where are we going to live? And did the other person adopt? Do we have to get married so that we are both legally parents to this child? And what if we don't want to get married? Or what if one of us doesn't particularly care for the institution of marriage? What does that mean? All of those things start coming up. That's what it is. But these are responsible things, and a lot of high value is taking responsibility for bigger and more things. Okay, so now we've covered goals and vision. We've covered different types of relationships, fun and special. We've covered family, and we've covered subfamily. Takes us into number 4 of children. So 5 takes us into finances. And all of this was kind of touched on in the first 4, but finances. If I make more than you, and I teach this in workshops, I've written about this before, that the best way to do this, start from day 1, is that hopefully we can find a new place to move into. It's difficult to move into somebody's space because then, as I have had relationships where I've said to the person, oh, you gotta go. You work on a relationship a little bit harder when we've both moved in and both of our names are on the lease. Then we can't quite break up as easily. And maybe something that was an immature breakup, we could have fixed and worked out. So it's best to move into a place together and have both of your names somehow, a joint tenancy, both on the lease or something like that. But if you're with a high value man or high value person, lots of times that I've had in relationships, both ways, where I was with somebody who had drastically more money than I did, $100 million. I've dated some wealthy people, rich and wealthy, and then I've also dated people who didn't have as much as I did in that middle area. So the discussion becomes net, 30%. The government recommends for a good budget, you should probably be living on about 30% of your net. And I've broken this down before. So let's say if I make $4,000 a month, and taxes, well, I don't know how you're paying your taxes, because that can be affected by, generally if you're a high value person, we're talking about between $5,000 and $10,000 a month. So, or $10,000 being about the break level, making about $100,000 a year. How much you're paying in taxes? Hopefully you're able to control your taxes. That's a big thing. And because a lot of people make a lot of money and don't control their taxes, so they go to work half the year just to pay taxes, which is a fool's errand or a fool's job. So, but if I work out that net and I say, okay, well, after making $100,000 a year, I then have $50,000 or $1,000 each week, which turns out to be about $4,000 or $5,000 a month after taxes. 30% of $5,000 is about $1,500. So $1,500 is what I'm able to contribute into the kitty, the pot, for our household expenses, making $100,000 a year. So if you make 50 and you're taxed down to 25, you can contribute 750. So now we've got 2250. So are we living on that 2250, or am I with my 15 saying, you know something, I really like that apartment, or I really like that house, that mortgage, that condominium, adding in another 500 that we live in, and your 750 then maybe covers the cable and the food. So those discussions have to be had, particularly with high value. 30%. What is that? What is 30% for you? What is 30% for me? It will never be 50-50. It will never be equal. You mess up relationships when you try to make it absolutely equal. I put in a nickel, so you have to put in a nickel. Or, you know, I bought a TV, so now you have to buy something worth $1,000. We may not ever be able to actually ever do that. What we have to figure out to do is that, based upon some kind of standard, which would be our 30%, what's 30% for you, what's 30% for me, and that's what we put into the joint household account. And then we might have, from our work, from our stuff, what we do, separate personal accounts. And what we do with that money is nobody's business but our own. And we have to look at the show, okay, well, I might have another $2,000, because you can actually do this on your direct deposit forms, where your check splits into two different places. So I have $2,000 going into the household account, and I have $2,000 going into my personal account. And that's where I buy the beautiful yellow sweaters I love so much from around the world. And then you have your $2,000 or your $2,500 go splits $750, and you know, then $1,200 goes into your personal account, and you do what you do. And we might say, hey, you know, we want to go on that vacation together in 6 months, so you know, we need to start putting $200 each towards it. Or I might say, you know, I'll buy your plane ticket and pay for half the hotel if you pay for the other half of the hotel. Okay, we can negotiate those things, but we have to talk about money and negotiate it. One of the things I talk about is I talk about insurance policies, that after a certain period of time, probably about 6 months to a year, I should put you on a policy and you should put me on a policy, just in case. And there shouldn't be any bullshit fear about, you know, one killing the other. It's bullshit fear. It's TV, Netflix shit. But if something happens, I might want you to get $50,000 to take care of yourself. Maybe to mourn me for a year. Maybe to go on a really great vacation as you're mourning me. You know, to cover the fact that, you know, I may have been contributing twice as much to the bill situation, to the wonderful condo thing, so maybe you should get a chunk of money that you can rearrange or pay off or compensate for with me being gone. We have to think about this. And yes, people will say this is a very heteronormative kind of way, but there's a reason why. There's a television studio, television networks, families, empires, Queen Elizabeth, White House, a lot of heteronormative stuff, though it might be predicated or interwoven with heterosexuality, works. It works. Now, all of it doesn't work, but what we have to do is we have to make a decision about keeping what works. It doesn't make any sense to say, you know, well, it's just because it's that color blue, we're never going to use it, we're never going to think about that because we're the red people. That's foolish. Why don't we just simply say, you know something, some of those blue things don't apply to us. Like, for two men, we really don't have to worry about getting a gynecologist. We don't have to worry about that. So that's an expense that's off the table. We don't have to worry about menopause. Expense off the table. But there are other things that we might have to say, you know something, maybe we have to have a prostate exam after 40. So that's an oncologist or a proctologist, so that we have to, okay, those are things that might be similar, interchangeable things that we have to think about as male to male, or even female to female, or trans to whomever, or whomever to trans. Work that out. So, finances. So we talked about that. So now we've moved into how we're setting up, and we're moving into the next high value thing, shelter. Where are we going to live? What is your level of living? What is my level of living? So I would say personally for myself that into it was about my mid-teens, where my uncle and great uncles and great aunts and distant cousins had all bought property. So by my teens, my parents started buying property. We lived in our first co-op, and then had a co-op and a house, and then another house. So are we owners? Are we renters? Because that's a level shift there too. So renters are generally, there are some people who are high value, make a lot of money and rent, and they rent for very specific reasons. Maybe they have to travel a lot for work. Maybe they constantly change or move where they work from. Maybe it's just easier because they know that, I'm going to work in New York City for 10 years at this firm, but I'm actually from Belize and I'm going to move back to Belize. So we have to have that discussion. How are we, if we are coming together as a couple, or if you're coming into a high value person's life, what the future plan is. Is the future plan renting? Is the future plan a co-op? Is the future plan a condo? Is the future plan a house? Is the future plan a multi-family or a building, and maybe we have an apartment in there? What's the plan? And again, so this goes all the way back to the first of envisioning and goals and setting things 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, that when you talk to a high value person, they will have a plan. They will say, well, while I'm having fun, and I was kind of this, while I was having fun, I rent an apartment and I worked in, still do, but I then, it's been 10, 15 years, in Washington Heights, in Manhattan, up by Columbia Presbyterian, because it was convenient to Columbia University, and then I worked at other nonprofits like GMHC downtown, so just the same train route. One day I'm going to just take the camera and you'll just see I just go in the same train route for the past years. I lived in an apartment. I subletted a swanky apartment for 3 years. And then I moved like 3 blocks to a larger apartment. And then, where was I at? And then I went on sabbatical, and then I came back, and for several years had another swanky apartment. And so now I've been thinking about, well, and this was a big pressure even from my family, when are you going to buy something? When are you going to buy? You spend so much money on tuition and school and classes and certifications and books. When are you going to buy some property? So that's why it's become a little bit of a press. I'm like, yeah, I've got to do it. And I've even helped other people buy property. And I've just been a New York renter, partially because I'm not completely, in my long-term plans, a New Yorker. This isn't my last city. I've lived in 5 major cities. So, but I think I've got one more retirement possibility. Other places in the world, that I've been thinking about. So, in a discussion and relationship, that would be part of it. Well, where do you want to go? Where do you want to end up? Where do you want to die? And that goes into our living arrangement. Renting, owning, leasing, that even subletting. Now there are lots of digital nomads. Even with the work that I do, to some degree, just a little bit of tweaking, I could do this with a laptop and a camera anywhere on the planet. And I have thought about that. There was a few years ago where, I think it was 2015, and I was here in New York and stuff, I was getting back into the groove of stuff and teaching and stuff after being on sabbatical, and I was like, geez, and it's just raining and it's snowing and stuff, and I seriously started looking at moving to the Caribbean. I was like, well, just pick an island. And I was like, there's got to be some schools there I could teach at. There's got to be some corporations I could work at. I was like, hell, I will take a bartender's, class here, and I'll go be Isaac the bartender somewhere on some pretty tropical island. And I thought, well, could I still do the books, and could I still do the TV and the blogs? And I said, yeah, I just take my laptop and just go. And I was like, yeah, it's still kind of continental United States, but it would be a whole different, there was a ugly weather thing I think going on, but I really started thinking about that. So that's something that you want to discuss with a high value person, a high value man, because I don't feel as attached to one region as somebody else may be because I have a level of financial flexibility. I'm like, maybe there, maybe there, maybe there. And I've also lived several other places, so several other cities. You really have to think about, how did I move from city to city to city to city? But I know how to move from city to city to city to city, and how to scope it out, how to get there, how to get all the stuff there, how you get rid of some stuff, and I think that there's like a stuff tax that happens when you go from city to city, because I don't have all of the stuff I had from all of the cities I've been in. The furniture, the couches, books, all different kinds of things that, you kind of leave a chunk behind as you go. So I'm like, hey, I'm always looking at my stuff at how can I move? Or where can I move to with this? Or cargo containers. How much do they cost if I want to move to someplace I've thought about, Fiji, that I live in Fiji. And I thought I should visit there first, but what if I want to retire to Fiji? Which would a cargo container cost for 1 to 2 bedrooms? $2,200, $4,500 for 3 to 5 bedrooms worth of stuff. And the dollar is worth twice as much in Fiji as it is in America. I was like, hey. So those are kinds of thoughts that a high-value person, high-value man, I am thinking about the future. So then the next thing becomes, so now we span through money, future and living situation and family and goals and money and all we've swirled around all those kinds
of things. Now trust me, I get it. As you get older, it can be a challenge to try to remain stylish, but not look like you're trying too hard to look young. There's a delicate balance that us OGs need to walk if we want to look good, but not look juvenile. And that's what I plan on helping you with in today's video. In today's video, I'm going to give you a bunch of things I believe you should try not to wear as often as possible that will help keep you looking both stylish and age appropriate. So without any further delay, let's hop into 12 things us older guys should never wear. First up on the list will be no surprise to anybody that's been watching this channel for any amount of time. Yes, as you get older, it's even more important to pay attention to the mantra, fit is king. Do not wear clothes that don't fit you well. The important thing here is to stay away from extremes. Baggy clothes can make you look sloppy. But on the other hand, you should not be wearing skinny or tight clothing as well. This will make you look juvenile and will accentuate the flaws a lot of us older guys have on our bodies as we mature. And here's the thing, I find a lot of guys confuse clothes that fit with fitted tight clothing. There's a difference. You want your clothes to be tailored to accentuate your strengths and diminish your flaws. That's where having both your dressier and your casual clothes nipped and tucked by a tailor helps you out a lot. For a stylish guy of any age, your tailor should be your best friend. And it definitely is important for my older guys out there. Do not wear clothes that don't fit you well. For our second tip of the day, it's time to throw myself under the bus. A mistake I'm still making, but I need to work on. As you get older, stop wearing trendy or fashion sneakers. Yes, you gotta let go of your Jordans. This is a rule I do still tend to break. But to be honest with you, when I wear them, I do have second thoughts. I do feel like I may be coming across a little juvenile. And that's the problem as you get older. Wearing trendy or fashion sneakers will make you look like you're trying hard. Instead, the go-to sneakers for us OGs, a low-profile, high-quality, minimal leather sneaker. Now, I'll probably continue to break this rule, but I have to admit, wearing trendy sneakers or my Jordans does make it look like I'm trying hard to be young. Next up is another one I've kind of finally gotten over the hump, but it took me a while and it may be taking you a while as well. My older guys out there, stay away from the distressed or ripped jeans. Now these type of jeans are the ones that you definitely will be tempted to give yourself a little edge. But 9 times out of 10, they come across as trying too hard and trying to look young. Your best bet when it comes to jeans, grab yourself a nice pair of dark wash denim. Next up on my list of things us older guys should never wear is a type of pants that will make you look dated. You want to try to avoid pleated trousers. Now for the last 20, 30 years, flat front trousers have been on trend, and they continue to be so. But here lately, pleated trousers are making a little bit of a comeback. But the funny thing about it, pleated trousers nowadays look better on younger guys. They're still kind of trendy. And when people see us older guys in pleated trousers, it tends to date us. My recommendation, wait a little bit longer to see if pleated trousers really take off. I recommend for now, us OGs stick with flat front trousers. Next up on the list is advice I give to every stylish guy, but it's even more important as you get older. Do not wear cheap dress shoes. I mean, come on, my man. You've had a job for a bunch of years. You can afford a quality pair of dress shoes. The thing about cheap dress shoes, they look just that, cheap. Leather is one of the hardest things to get done right inexpensively. And your shoes are the foundation of your wardrobe, not to mention the ladies look there first. As an older guy trying to be stylish, invest first in your shoes. Get quality, well-made dress shoes, constructed a Goodyear Blake Stitch construction that can be resold. Put shoe trees in them, take care of them, they'll last you for years. They'll age like fine wine, just like you and I have. Next up on the list, I have another jean tip. If you can help it, avoid wearing light wash jeans. Here's the thing, you don't want to wear anything that the slang form is dad, like dad sneakers and dad jeans. Light wash jeans have become more on trend the last couple years, but they look better on young guys. When we wear them, they look out of style. Light wash jeans dates us OGs. Avoid them as much as possible. Start anywhere from your typical medium wash blue jean up to a nice dark wash denim, as I recommended earlier. Next up is an item I know a lot of guys tend to struggle to let go of as they get older. And I'm going to put 2 together here. You want to try to avoid graphic tees and sports jerseys. The graphic tees with the clever, sarcastic saying don't come off that way when you wear them in your 40s. It comes off corny, to be honest. How about you try this? You be clever and sarcastic with your mouthpiece. Leave that off of your clothing. And on top of that, the sports jerseys, please know, nothing makes you look like you're trying to hold on to your past more than an athletic jersey, except for if you're at the game itself. Just like you, I still remember hitting that game-winning jumper back in 1991. But guess what? It's not 1991 anymore. Get rid of the jerseys and the graphic tees. Next up, I'm gonna talk about a couple of pair of shorts that are sure to make an older guy look like he's not in style. You want to avoid the cargo shorts and the board shorts. Now, cargo shorts are just fine if you're working on the construction site during the summer. You need the extra pockets for your tools. But if you're not going to work, you look pretty bad. Cargo shorts are just very unflattering. All the extra pockets take away from the streamlined look of your body. They're just not a go. And in summertime, when it's time to go swimming or hit the beach, board shorts aren't a good look as well. You want some shorts that fall a little bit above your knee. I'm not one who says to give up on shorts as you get older. Just wear ones that fit well. Next up on the list is a pet peeve of mine for guys of any age that consider themselves stylish, but really works my nerves for my OGs. Don't walk around naked, having a naked wrist to be exact. To me, a stylish older guy is just incomplete without a nice timepiece around his wrist. Especially as you've gotten older, you've made a little bit more money, you can invest in a nice statement watch to even take it more so over the top. A man wearing a watch just looks like someone who respects time, his and others. Like I always say, there's nothing cool about checking your smartphone for the time, but you look smooth and distinguished checking that beautiful timepiece to see what time it is. Now, earlier on the list, we talked about why you shouldn't rock cheap dress shoes. Here's another category I don't want you pinching pennies on. Try to avoid cheap outerwear. Now, when you're in the seasons when you're wearing jackets and coats, a lot of times your jacket and coat will be the only thing people see. You want it to be of nice quality. Just like with dress shoes, it's hard to get cheap jackets and coats right. Whether it's an overcoat, a bomber, a parker, whatever outerwear you wear, invest a little bit more in high quality outerwear. Another mistake a lot of older guys make when it comes to style, they'll have the right clothing on, but they'll have outdated silhouettes. Here's what I mean. You may have your favorite suit from the 90s. Only problem, it's too baggy. Or you're somebody who recently became a little older and used to rock skinny jeans 5 or 10 years ago. They're no longer on trend. A lot of the basics when they come to style stay the same, especially for us men. We're always gonna wear jeans, we're always gonna wear suits. However, the fit and the silhouettes evolve over time. Be aware of them. That's why as you get older, it's important to be aware of trends, but not chase them. You don't wanna have the right clothing on, but the wrong silhouettes. Keep yourself up to date. Last but certainly not least on my list of 12 things older guys should never wear, this is a tip I give to almost every age guy, but it's very important for us OGs. Please stay away from the oversized or prominent logos. To be honest, these big logos don't look good on most guys, but they definitely scream attention seeking on us older fellas. Part of being stylish as an OG is to be subtle, to let quality speak. You don't have to speak so loudly with the logo proclaiming you got on designer. And as an older guy, you don't need logos to speak for you. The quality and the fit of your clothing would do all the talking. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of oversized logos for guys of any age, but definitely please stay away from them as you become.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. Make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb. I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up. Cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be